Big news that's coming in on that front as far as the United Kingdom closing its doors on ex-Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. What we're given to understand in this particular statement is that UK has stated no provision to seek asylum or refuge. So clearly that would be seen as a big setback if at all the plans were to be settling in the United Kingdom. Let me quickly take you to those points where the UK Home Office has stated on Sheikh Hasina by stating that UK has no provision within its immigration rules for someone to be allowed to travel to UK to seek asylum or temporary refuge. Those who need international protection would have to claim asylum in the first safe country they reach. Essentially, by also stating that that is the fastest route to safety. So that's big news that's coming in as far as the statement that's pretty much come out by the UK Home Office on Hasina and the given situation by stating in this particular statement that we're looking at where the UK says claim asylum in the country they reach, claim asylum in the first safe country they reach. So remember, she had fled Bangladesh to be reaching India. I understand Times Network consultant Shinjoy Chaudhary joins me live for more on this. Shinjoy, that is a big statement that's coming in. Tell us more.
Yeah, first safe country in this case would probably be India. That's what Britain means. That's what Britain thinks. Right. And what we are hearing is that Sheikh Hasina herself is actually keen on staying on in India. That is at least, if nothing else, an option she is considering. Well, that said, there with the British saying that what they have, it's actually also slightly surprising. It doesn't have to be asylum. She can get a long-term visa to stay in Britain, if nothing else. Supposing she asks for, let's say, a 5-year visa, would the British deny her? That's a surprising thing. That's one. Secondly, let's not forget that her niece is part of the Labour Party establishment. She is a senior leader of the ruling Labour Party in Britain. That's one other issue that has to be kept in mind. Of course, the one other country that has been talked about is Finland. Now, Sheikh Hasina's nephew is married to a Finnish citizen, and she has visited Finland several times. So that's one other option. But we'll have to see how this works out. We'll have to see how India deals with this issue as well. Does the Indian government want Sheikh Hasina to be permanently here? That's one issue that has to be considered. That's one issue that India will have to look at and take a decision on. But before that, if Britain has said what it has, then what are Sheikh Hasina's other foreign options, India apart? Is it Finland? There's been some talk about Brussels, Belgium. Is that something that she's looking at? We don't know for sure. But with the British saying what they have, it's not making it very easy for Sheikh Hasina to enter Britain.
Right, Shinjoy, as you point that out, with UK now closing its doors pretty much, it seems like the ball is in India's court. And also this morning when we were discussing about how the last time she did seek refuge in India as well, seems like history repeating itself.
Well, the last time was a very different situation. First of all, she was not Prime Minister of India, of Bangladesh. She was a private citizen. Her father, her mother, her brothers, and other members of her family had all been shot. Her father had been assassinated. Right. Now, that's one. Secondly, she was given refuge in India, and she's always been very grateful about it. And the one person who actually handled the whole thing was Pranab Mukherjee, the late Pranab Mukherjee, who was later President of India. Now, this time she is Prime Minister, number one. She has left her country in the circumstances that she has. So the situation is very different. Of course, she would probably be happier
Right, and
in
Shinjo, as you
India.
point about the
But
situation, I'll
we'll
have to
just have to
interject
see
you
how
because
it
we are
works out.
getting more big news as far as that is concerned. In fact, I'm going to come back to you as far as this huge development concerning the Bangladesh parliament that has been dissolved is what we're given to understand. So that's the big input that we're picking up right now, where Bangladesh president has dissolved the parliament. This is a big win for student protesters, and decks have been cleared for interim government in Bangladesh. So clearly, that's the significant input that we're picking up. Shinjoy, back to you as far as this is concerned, with the fact that somewhere down the line this was an expected lines, but also the way we're putting into context as to how this would essentially also be a big win for student protesters.
Well, first of all, if you're going to have an interim government, then you can't have parliament. And this parliament had about 230 plus members of the Awami League. So if you had to have a parliament and you had to have a government, then again it would be Awami League. So you had to dissolve parliament, and which is something that had to be done before you have an interim government. Now the opportunity is to have an interim government, and we will have to see who are in the interim government. Khaleda Zia, as you know, has been released from house arrest. So that's an important point. But that apart, what will this interim government consist of? That's actually very important. We will have to see what the army decides. But parliament had to be dissolved. And now that parliament has been dissolved, what will be the fate of these 230 plus Awami League members of parliament? That's particularly important because many of them feel their lives are in danger. Their houses have been attacked. One was actually hiding in parliament for a while before the army took him out. So that issue also will have to be looked at. Hopefully the army will ensure the safety of these now former Awami League MPs.